All right, everybody, welcome back. We're up to our next episode of the Final Fantasy VI T-Edition. You'll notice right away the level says 19. I'm going to be honest, I did some level grinding between the last video and this one, about 45 minutes worth. So the first thing we'll take a look at here are our levels. I think we ended the last episode off. This is a few weeks have passed since I played last, so you're going to have to bear with me if I'm incorrect, but I feel like it was 16 through 14, maybe 17 through 14. We're now up to 19 through 16. A couple reasons for this. Hopefully by the end of this episode we'll be fighting a boss, and I'll talk about it as we get closer. But we are going to start getting to, even in the actual normal game, more challenging fights. So I have now entered the town of Jador. Jador is one of these places that has class systems, so like the not quite poor, but the lower income people are down low. The richer people live up higher, of course. I also got some money by doing some leveling up. So first thing we're going to come in here and do is a little bit of upgrading. Looks like Locke really needs the most of that. Alright. So it is kind of cool how they have where you can walk under the little bridge like that. Alright, so Cyan would have gotten a new sword if we brought him. I really was so close to bringing Cyan. Kind of wish I did, but on the other hand, this is a story-driven playthrough, and the characters that we have right now in our party bear the majority of the story at this point. So the relic shop should be interesting, especially since relics do some different things in the T-Edition here. Still not seeing a whole lot of things. Earrings, we have 2 for Celeste. Peace ring. Confuse and Berserk. Says we have those anyhow. Those relics were incredibly expensive if you notice. They are not normally that expensive. This is the auction house. Today's auction is over. We will be able to come in here and buy things at an auction location very soon in the plot. Typically when I play I don't do it until much later in the game, but there is the ability to come do so perhaps in the next couple of gameplay hours. I saw a girl bathed in light speed off toward the northern mountains, so that gives us our destination point and where we will be heading after this. All the middle class families live in the southern part of the town, the richer folks live up north, so there we get that statement I mentioned. And of course the richest person in town lives up in here. Alzer is his name, and this mansion will come into play a couple times in the game. So he tells us that I am the spitting image of Maria. He is of course referring to Celeste, because I can't imagine that Sabine is the spitting image of an opera singer. So that would be interesting and funny. So that's what we have in Jador. It looks like we got a little bit of an upgrade for Locke on equipment. That was about it. At this point we're going to head north. We will be coming back to Jador, but we're going to head north toward Zozo, which is the next area where that's north of here where they saw Terra fly off to. I'm going to take a chocobo just to speed this along, because normally we would fight 4 or 5 battles on the way up. We're going to just head north along this path. As we're traveling up here, again I leveled up because this area the enemies are significantly stronger. This is the first real jump in difficulty, but the boss at the end of this area is also the first real boss I can think of where I actually do have a hard time even in just a normal playthrough of this game. And as we get close to him I'll explain why. But let's focus on the area first. Zozo is a town, it is a city, it is abandoned, and is a place of like vagrants, vagabonds. This guy's laying dead on the street, for instance. And as this person here... Oh, and we have fights in this town. This is a dungeon for all intents and purposes. this is the first mark of why these enemies get really hard. There's a lot of enemies who throw potions and heal. There is one particular enemy we will most likely encounter a couple of times who has a lot of hit points and will counter with a very strong move that hits everybody when he gets low on HP. So we really are starting to get into this area where strategy becomes important. This is the guy who tells us, I believe... Ooh! Oh, we got the jobs again! Oh, cool! Oh, ha! Nothing I can do for you. The second hand on my watch is pointing at 30. So somewhere there's a guy around here who tells us that nobody tells the truth in Zozo. And there's a puzzle involved with where you get an awesome weapon if you can set a clock to the right time. But if no one tells the truth, you have to, by process of elimination, eliminate what it isn't, right? So basically, that one hand is not at the 30, he says. I have the clock memorized, and I am desperately hoping that they didn't change it, because that's going to make this very difficult if it's not 6:10:50, which is what the clock normally says. That Hill Gigas, by the way, is when you get him to a certain hit point range, he will counter with like a Quake move, which is very, very disastrous. So these Iron Claws are actually from Final Fantasy V, I believe. They're not normally part of the game, and I think it's kind of cool that they get added in here. They're known for their high defense in Final Fantasy V. I fought a couple of them while I was leveling up. I came up here and just kind of hung around the entrance and fought, so I haven't actually wandered into Zozo yet. It just was leveling up. But I actually stole a weapon for Sabin off these guys that he has equipped right now. I'm going to put Celeste on the back row and use her as primarily a magic user. I forgot to equip that armor on her, that white dress, because it was supposed to boost her magic attack. So we kind of took a little bit of a detour over here. A needle dagger, that's new. I do not ever remember that. Hey, that works for me. Alright. I don't remember what normally was there now that I say that out loud. Oh, see. Got within that range of damage, and you see like it just more than half damage to the whole team. So when you knock him out, you have to knock him out over a certain threshold. Like if you only barely do it, is when he counters with that. I feel like I'm getting not nearly the experience that I would normally get in these battles. Also notice I did not heal Celeste. So another, we could look at that clock to tell us another time that's incorrect. There's that Kaiser Knuckle that I stole for Sabin earlier. For some reason, I have played this game a number of times, as I've made mention of, but for some reason I always get lost in this area. I don't know why it is, but there's a couple places that have some things I want to do and go, and I just can never remember where they are. For those who are familiar with the game, I'm trying to find the new tool for Edgar that's hidden behind the clock, and maybe it's this building here. I'm taking a beating up there. that was weird. He countered the potion being used on him and hit the harvester. Kinda funny. And as well put together as this game is, I wonder if that was perhaps like an unintentional ad, and then when they tested it they saw it and they thought that was funny enough to leave in here. Not sure. Alright, so here's the clock hands that have stopped. Here's where we hope that it is what it usually is. Good. Because it would have been awesome and clever if they changed that. But I would have been very scared. Because that would have meant I would have to have gone talk to everybody and figured it out. And that wouldn't have made for good watching right now, I'm sure. Whoa! So, Locke's new weapon is a dart. That's interesting. There's the chainsaw. So, I don't really like using the chainsaw. And the reason why is because there's a certain percentage chance it does one thing or a different thing. The different thing is that it could one-hit KO an enemy. But as you can imagine, if the enemy you're fighting or the boss is immune to it, if it just so happens to roll that attack, then the attack does nothing at all, it just is a miss. So you could either do a lot of damage, or you could just completely miss the enemy. And I don't really like attacks or skills that do that kind of thing. But we have to demonstrate it, right? So that's the one-hit KO move. But he still countered with magnitude 8. That's interesting. I guess because it took him right down to 0 hit points and nothing more. So it triggered that routine. See, that's what's interesting about this game, is that this is one of the first games that really got me into looking at the code. Like the AI, the commands, the automation behind... what is this? Oh, no. So, this isn't supposed to happen. Oh no. I had such a hard time with him on the train. Was not expecting this. Oh, it's... Alright, let's do it. It's go time. At least we get to hear the cool music, right? See, and that's the other one where it just does an attack. You see that it's great attack, it does high damage, but you're either going to get that or miss, because this is a boss. Uh-oh. New move. Bad move. We're in trouble. Because she was going to heal everybody. So this game is going to just start throwing surprises at me left and right. I've got to give it to it. I was not expecting this. Polarity shift. Oh, he brought everybody to the front row. Savin's next blitz he's going to learn at 22, I think it is really actually going to help me out tremendously, because it's a healing move for the party. And right now, I'm needing some extra healing abilities, it looks like. really want to steal again. 'Cause I feel like he's got something if I can get it out of him. Oh, that was it? A high potion? Yeah, alright. Really could go for a Cure 2 spell right about now, too. Alright, well, I can go to attacking now. Full offense. Until he does that Gale Cut again. Or Wind Razor, I guess they call it, right? Alright. Whew. Nope. Oh, we're not dead. Oh, we're not gone. We're not gone. Hold on. Oh, this is what he does in 5, right? Doesn't he do the thing where he says, "Ha, I lied," and then he starts doing jump attacks like a dragoon? Oh no. I gotta try to get as many of these attacks out as I can, because if he's gonna start jumping, that means I gotta start timing my attacks. And these charge attacks, and splits are charges now, I can't afford to do that. Now he's protected, I can't do... Oh man. I wanted a challenge, I got it. We'll pretend it was going to be a one-hit KO miss anyhow. I need to conserve for magic points. Are we gone for good this time? Whew. Okay, so that one wasn't as bad as the first one in my opinion. Perhaps because I leveled up. If I didn't do that leveling up, I may not have been able to survive that one. Not sure. Dude, I'm gonna run back and throw a save outside of town. Because Celeste also needs some magic healing. Those Veil Dancers are nothing to mess around with either, because they do no level 2 elemental magic, as you saw there. Still can't get over the flash. It's called Sunbeam because, I mean, it was flash. Alright, so Celeste actually learned fire, and this goes back to a few episodes ago when I noticed that she was actually learning it from something and I wasn't sure what. Because remember, Edgar was learning protect off of something also. And we eventually found out what it was. I think maybe the earrings was causing it. But her knowing fire now is interesting. Alright, let's throw a tent down. Also, I keep forgetting I got those golden apples in my inventory, and I'm wondering if this is an appropriate time to start using them or not. The difficulty of the game is spiking up. I'll have a definite answer about 2 more events later in this game. I still can't get over the fact that Celeste is like level, what, 16 or 17 now and still only has 400 hit points. This game's balance definitely is disadvantageous to magic users, because Terra has the same problem. Which means that there's a couple other primary magic user type characters we'll get later that may be in the same problem loop. Really hate that move. Did I save it when I left town? I can't remember. Yes, I did. Okay, sorry about that. I tend to second guess myself on stuff like that. Which means we're gonna get another battle. But you know what? This boss, even being 3 levels higher than I after that level grind, this boss that we're gonna get to is no joke here in a few minutes. At least all this build-up that I've been giving him, watch him like just fall down. But I have a feeling he was already hard, and I have a feeling that the difficulty upping that this game has been doing is going to make it even harder, one way or another. Alright, moving forward, we're going to go in here. Oh, I got Dragoon Boots. Even if I don't use them, if anything else, those are going to be worth money. Dragoon Boots are going to let me jump, as you would assume. I'm trying to make sure that this last hit goes a little bit above normal damage. Ah, I still hit that damage. Okay. So let's learn Protect. That might actually be very useful in this battle to come. So you can talk to all these guys, and they will tell you different times. You also can stand here and the line will back up, which is kind of fun and cool too. If that's your thing, you know. That guy tells you something about a time. Alright. So I can go up here to get an item, but I actually need to go left out that window. Okay, so I'm trying to calculate how many hit points he has. Seems to have somewhere around 1,000, but earlier when I did 1,300, it still triggered that. So I'm not sure what's triggering it and what's not, because I thought it was like within like 100 or 150 hit points of death. There's a thief gauntlet that will increase his ability to steal along with the sneak armlet, I think, right? Oh, it changed its fight to mug. Oh, okay. I'm fine with that. Wonder if I should have both. Just hate to lose that white cape though. Well, it'll increase speed also. So that's an advantage. Alright, so we're gonna jump window to window. Sorry, sometimes when I have like these advantage attacks, I tend to just attack even though I could have done a move with Spinner Edgar to hit everybody and be done with the battle faster. They're almost like breather battles where I don't have to think and just kind of hold the button down and let them do their thing. Alright, so we go up through this little tiny passage here and down. Some good luck on the pincer attacks there, aren't I? Yep. Still get the same facts. Check a few more windows. So we should be coming up to the boss here in about one more room I gotta go through. And depending on how long that boss battle takes, we may or may not trigger the next plot event afterward. So I'll go ahead and start my spiel now, that I kind of waited on going through. I had mentioned in a previous video, maybe even been like one or two, much earlier, I had done a separate project that never came to completion because of some technical difficulties I was having. I actually still have the save file and could try to finish, but the audio and the quality was really bad, so I didn't feel comfortable mixing it and putting it online. But the project was called Final Fantasy Terra's Story, and it was based off of some of the challenges I've seen done in Pokemon, where an individual will try to beat Pokemon with just one Pokemon. And I was going to try to go through Final Fantasy VI with just Terra. So if anyone else joins your party, they have to stay dead. Terra is the only character you're allowed to use at any time for the whole game. And it was definitely a challenge. Like, this is a challenge, but it was a different kind of challenge. It forced me to use other strategies I normally would never have used. And I enjoyed it immensely. I actually got all the way through, I don't want to make any spoilers now, but a sizable amount of the second half of the game. And I really do want to go back and finish it, honestly. But this boss was the first boss that gave me, it took hours, maybe an hour and a half, maybe not hours. It took a long time to beat this boss with just one character. And it was the first boss I actually had to go look up the AI for it. Like, what does it do? How does it counter? How does it operate? How does it react to your status? There's a couple bosses that are like this, but it has a script that is really interesting. And it makes me curious as to whether he's going to do the same thing. Essentially, the script dictates that when you get him to a certain hit point level, he's going to start using like Protect and Shell on himself. But it also says that after so many physical attacks or so many magic attacks, he's going to start throwing weapons at you. And one of the problems that I had was that with only having one person alive, those weapons were just killing me every time. So I had to do my best to avoid triggering that script. And it was extremely difficult because that meant that I had to count how many physical attacks and how many magic attacks I was doing. And they had to be doing enough damage so that I didn't meet any of those thresholds. It was a very proud moment for me when I finally beat him, by the way. It's the sort of... Whoa! I think he can do that in the original game, but I just don't see him do it all that often. It's just one of those pleasures you get out of a game when you invest so much time and mental energy into it. See, here he's starting to throw stuff now. I gotta pay attention to that sort of thing. Oh, I have 30 souls from him. And he's also going to call some henchmen eventually, and I'll have to fight them at the same time. Oh, and he's going to jump. A lot of people with Dragoon boots in Zozo, it looks like. That wasn't too bad. So I'm really gonna utilize that protect spell while I got it. Here they come. There's the potions. He's going to throw about 3 on them. There's protecting shell. Oh, he didn't do shell. Okay. I'm okay with that. Since our vault's magic damage, doesn't matter. Well, it doesn't matter for Spin. Everybody else is going to have a hard time getting through that. Oh, now he's countering. Notice that Spin Whistle stepped forward. He's countering by throwing weapons. I had a feeling that might have been a thing that he would start doing now. Countering with weapon throws. So I'm going to start losing hit points pretty quick. Protect is going to be a new strategy I'm going to utilize pretty good. Wow. So after all of that build-up of this going to be such a hard boss fight and all these fears that I had, I think that was PTSD from when I went through this fight for, like I said, an hour and a half, 2 hours, to the point I had to look it up online on how to beat this guy with what I was doing. Alright. So, since that went by pretty quick, let's go ahead and move on with the story. So, some people in Cullingan saw the person flying south. We went to Jador and they said they saw it flying north. So this is right between the 2 locations. So we should be able to find Terra here. Now, if you'll remember, we last saw her transform into this and fly off. That was the last piece of information that we gathered. We probably have been able to put some pieces together by this, but the game is going to make sure that we're all on the same page. Ramu says that she's frightened. So her name is Terra. Interesting. So she still has no full control over her body just yet. She simply used the power she didn't know she had, and it overwhelmed her. Now her body won't listen to what she's telling it to do. See, that's new dialogue, but I like how they explained it with those words. It was left up to assume that that's what was going on. Never really explained it before. As for myself, I am the Esper Ramu. Don't Espers live in another world? See, now we're starting to get some backstory also. The reason everybody was so surprised that an Esper was in Narsha is no one had ever seen an Esper. But everyone imagined or assumed that they were around. Like I say, I thought they were in another world. That doesn't mean that we can't be here too. Come in a variety of forms. My appearance is similar to your own, so I can live here as one of you. Why hide the fact that you're an Esper? That was no bedtime story. What was the truth? Until the War of the Magi. War of Magic. Espers fought humans who had been infused with magical powers extracted from other Espers. That sounds very similar to what's going on right now. After this meaningless war ended, the Espers went somewhere where they exiled themselves. They feared that if they remained, it would only be a matter of time before their powers were targeted again. Then one day, about 20 years ago, humans stumbled on the entrance. Humans who knew of Espers and the secrets of our powers. And that person was Gestal. So even though that they had kind of secreted themselves away, they weren't preventing people from coming or going. So at that point they realized they had to keep people out. Those who were caught at that time are now in the Empire's Magitech research facility being drained of their powers. So that gives us a little backstory of how Celeste got her power. He escaped and has been hiding here ever since. And why Terra came here, well, not knowing how to control her power, she is kind of magnetically drawn to her. He called Terra when he sensed that she had lost control. She responded to that call. I think that's slightly different than what's said originally. No, she's a bit different from us. So Terra is like an Esper. She looks like she's in pain. She's afraid of what she is, and that is a painful thing. What can we do to help her? The other Espers in the Magitech research facility may be able to help. And if we can get inside, we'll find them? Ah, Celeste. I don't think she normally talks during this little phase. It's interesting she reacts there. You can't drain an Esper's power by force. It weakens them, but it's only when they become Magicite can those powers be transferred. Oh, that's interesting. This dialogue is different than what it normally is. When an Esper dies, Magicite is all that's left behind. So he doesn't really say he's turning himself into Magicite. He insinuates he's dying in the actual game. So now we've reached the point in the game where everybody can learn magic. So you equip a Magicite on a person, and then just like we've seen glimpses of after so much time, they'll learn the spells associated with it. So I have so many questions, a lot of curiosities I'm interested in right now. What has changed with the way to learn magic in this game? We're going to find out together here in just a second. Hey, Kate Sith. That's different than Stray. Stray Cat. Siren. Kieran. You must stop them. There must not be a second war. And Ramo. And as we have been talking, oh, look who showed up. Let's talk on the way down. So let's have another of those like we did before that big battle with Kefka. A little conversation to catch everybody up. The Empire's been draining magic from Espers. Celeste, was all of this true? I think I like Celeste's character more in this game. I'm going to really like her as the game moves forward. We must find a way to slip into the Empire. Best let it split up again. We'll need to beef up our defenses in Narsha. Now the game is going to force us to take Locke and Celeste at this point, because they're going to be integral to the plot. Celeste for obvious reasons, and Locke because there's a little foil between these two now. Celeste says, I'll go, I know it inside and out. Locke being the quote-unquote ladies' man, but really, we know his backstory now. I believe there may be an opportunity to get Shadow, sorry, Clyde, but I'm going to go ahead and bring the full party with me. I really want to bring Cyan. I really, really want to bring Cyan. But we are going to need both Sabine and Edgar's ability to hit everybody hard for a couple of battles that are coming up. But you know what? I really want to think this through. You never really get to use Cyan. Wait for us back in Narsha. Don't worry, we'll be fine. We'll have to go all the way back to Narsha to change our party if we wanted to. Unfortunately, that is a long hike. So I was thinking in my mind I could change party members here, and I forgot about that. Truth be told, we will be heading back to Narsha for non-plot related purposes for a few other things that we can get there. But we're going to wait until after the Magitech Research Facility for that. But here's the point that we're at. How are we actually going to get to the Magitech Research Facility since it's on another continent? And they've closed down the harbors. I think that's something that somebody in either Nicaea or South Figaro had mentioned. And there's no ship sailing there anymore. The town of Jador to the south is full of wealthy aristocrats. One of them might know a way. Where there is a gill. Why are you coming with me? Locke's a cool character. Alright, so before we end this clip, let's do it. Let's take a look at what it means to have these espers. Is it all the same as it was before? Confused, Libra, and Toad feel different. Mutants are two of what would normally be on there. There are less spells on these. So this is, Okay, so we're going to pause here for a sec. Normally, espers will have anywhere from 1 to 4 spells that you can learn. Most of these starting ones all have 3 or 4 each. Right away you're noticing, hey, there's only, a couple. Something else is missing. In the original game, you could also get a base stat boost when you level up based on the esper you have. So in other words, Ifrit, who we'll be getting later, if you level up while holding Ifrit, you get 1 extra power point per level. It is a part of the original game that is slightly broken because it allows you to overpower your characters, and it is something that I've always done. They took that out. I will not be getting those boosts to my stats. So magic power to Terra, which coincidentally in my Terra story playthrough, I make sure she always gets a magic point boost every level up so that her stat is maxed out before the end of the game. So all that we will be able to do by equipping espers is learning spells, and looking at what we got here, it's pretty useless spells with the exception of the thunder and the cure spells. We need to get some more cures on there, but I mean mute and sleep, mute maybe, if it even hits. I am disappointed, but I understand. Since she already knows cure, let's put her on magic damage. Block. Well, with this being the case, now I'm understanding this, I kind of want to go back to Narsh and get Cyan back in my party. So you know what? This is what we're going to do. I'm going to put some stuff on these guys. And wait. Potent light attack, blind plus disease. So one thing I didn't think of is what do the actual, because you can actually summon the espers. And I hadn't noticed what that actually does. So I might actually start utilizing them as an attack in battle as well. Alright, we're going to call it here. I'm going to save it. But I am going to contemplate A, going back to Narsha and getting Cyan before we move forward with the plot. And B, doing a little leveling up of spells before we move on. So tune in next time to see if I do either of those things. Now we'll do one more for the road. Test some stuff out, right? Because now I have the magic unit. Wow, so Siren normally just confuses, but it did some major damage, didn't it? That was pretty cool. Okay, so that's how they've adjusted this now. It took a chunk of his MP, unfortunately, but so these espers are now more useful as usable things in battle. Good piece of information to have. Alright, I've stalled long enough. Let's call it here. Thank you for watching. Thank you for tuning in. We're excited. We're moving forward with the plot. The Magitech facility is next, or is it? Still got to get there, don't we? So tune in next time to see how we do that. Like the video if you like it. Give me a comment below. You know the rest. Have a good one.